Hey, before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. Hey, what's up Transformers fans, my fellow geek gals and geek guys. Welcome back to another episode of MixelPix Transformers Time Warp. I'm Mike, and first I wanted to say thank you for your patience with me in getting this review out. It had been a bit hectic up and through the Christmas holiday for me with personal stuff and work, and I just needed to take a little downtime to handle things and get my head back into the Transformers review game. I was also working on, if you haven't seen it yet, the interview with Scale Master Mike Lorber, a guy who has amazing ties and influence with third-party Masterpiece Transformers toy companies. So if you haven't seen that interview, check it out. He's got an amazing Transformers life story. So thanks again for your patience. Here's a little channel update that'll lead us into today's review. Just a couple months ago, YouTube unlocked the community tab on the MixelPix channel, and that is thanks to you, all of your views and subscriptions. I don't know what the metrics are that go into unlocking the community tab, but I've never had access to it before. I can now post a message, I can post pictures, I can post a video up there, and that is all thanks to you as subscribers and viewers. So thank you very much for getting that unlocked for the channel. Check it out. I've posted up things like the announcement that HasLab had a new project for Ghostbusters Proton Pack. I posted up about a Transformers Prime toy that I had found available at a particular online toy store. And for the first time ever, we have an official YouTube poll. And that was to find out which toy of the three that you would like to see reviewed next. The choices were Hasbro's War for Cybertron Kingdom Ark, Deformation Space's Crimson Wings, aka Starscream in more of a toon aesthetic, and Robot Heroes RH02 Airwaffle. I know everywhere else it says Airwolf, but if you actually find the box actually says Airwaffle WOFL. So Airwaffle aka Springer. It came down to a 50-50 split with no love shown for Robot Hero at all. So I had to make the decision between the Ark and Starscream. And coming to us from tfsource.com, Hasbro's War for Cybertron Kingdom Ark. Yes, that is a big box. And from tfsafari.com, an accessory and upgrades. And believe it or not, these aren't the only upgrades that I was able to find for the Ark, so we're going to put one of these upgrades aside for another video. And let's get down to the main attraction. Now, if you're saying that this is not a Masterpiece scale toy, you are right. This is a Titan class toy, and it's part of more of the mainline series, but I doubt if we're ever going to get much bigger than this. I mean, how could we get any bigger than this without eclipsing the size of Unicron? And that's already got the title as the largest officially produced Transformer ever created. So I don't know if they're going to be too quick to actually take that title away from Unicron to give it to the Ark. So that being said, this is possibly the largest scale official Ark that we'll ever get. So I am classifying this as a Masterpiece scale for my collection. So as a little backstory, the saga of the Ark dates back 4 million years to its launch from Cybertron in the original G1 cartoon. Okay, so it's actually only 37 years ago, but in all that time, the only Arks which existed were those made by fans. An official Autobot Ark toy or playset was never released by Hasbro. Then a tidal wave of a rumor came from Brazil in September 2020, originating from YouTube channel Marco Madri's Reviews. The 4-minute video claimed that Hasbro had a Titan-class Ark toy in development as part of its War for Cybertron toy line, with only a low-quality photo heavily marked with black scribbles as evidence. The possibility that the claim was a hoax was very real. But word spread quickly on the internet to Radio Free Cybertron, TFW2005.com, and Cybertron.ca. Then the rumor was heavily hinted to be true, first with the release of an Ark blueprint image posted to HasbroPulse.com's Unboxed blog page on September 18, 2020, and then during Hasbro PulseCon 2020 with the release of Kingdom artwork which Cybertron.com reported on September 26th. This artwork showed the Ark in robot mode, as you can see here. Then a supporting rumor surfaced exactly 5 months after Marco Madri's initial report. On February 5th, 2021, tformers.com reported on what was supposedly an unofficial list of leaked product and their product codes. This list included F-1152 Titan-class Ark. Then on April 7, 2021, IGN.com reported that the Ark would be available for pre-order that week. During Hasbro's FanFest 2021, only 2 days later, this was confirmed and had apparently been leaked to IGN.com earlier.
So we might as well get started, kick it off with a closer look at what has already been revealed, or in other words, leaked from War for Cybertron Kingdom Wave 3, about like 80% of the line.
Marketing? Pre-orders were open to Hasbro Pulse Premium members first, and then to all non-members. I wasn't able to get in on that pre-order due to a fumble with my Pulse Premium account, but I was able to pre-order it at tfsource.com. Thank you, TFSource. With an announced release date of July 1, 2021, my copy wouldn't be available until October 25, 3 months later. But I suppose I should be thankful that it wasn't any longer, considering the global trouble with COVID-19 and the shipping and supply chain issues that the United States has had. And after all that, what would the Ark even be without the Netflix War for Cybertron Kingdom series? The Netflix exclusive animated series premiered in late July, and Episode 5 would finally bring forth the Ark in its robot mode. All right, after much ado, let's get to the review. Now, if I scared any of you, I did actually make the blade a lot smaller so that I wasn't going to cut the box, hopefully. That is one of the dangers when you use a box knife. Got to make sure that it's short so that you don't cut into the product box. And look at that. That is beautiful. Such a massive bot. I can't wait to see this bot in its full-size bot mode. Look at the size of this box. Man, some of the packing tape got onto my box and it's just ripped the box. Ah, rats. TFSource. So look, I'm not asking for a collectible grade box because that's not what I paid for. But when the packaging tape from the toy company, not even the toy company itself, but the reseller, actually gets onto the package and causes me to rip the print on the package, that's upsetting. Oh gosh, it's on the other side of the box too. Look at this is shameless. They secured the wrap to the box instead of getting the box wrapped up and then taping the wrap. They did it on both sides of the box. I am a fan of TFSource, and this is really unfortunate. I don't want to give a bad impression of them. I've been happy with them as, you know, one of my suppliers for my Masterpiece toys, but this is frustrating. I ordered this directly after Hasbro Pulse FanFest 2021, waited 3 months for it, and TFSource hastily packed it up and shipped it. I guess, you know, both sides are taped and ripping the packaging. So, TFSource, if you're watching this, see that bit of tape there that was slapped onto the box to secure the wrapping? Yeah, it's ripped the print on both ends. So this one thankfully tucks away a little bit better. You can see that right there. That bit of tape is going to have to stay or be very, very carefully trimmed away to look like it's not really there, but it has ripped the paper on that side too. Okay, no spoilers, but just so you know, this character comes from the War for Cybertron Trilogy series that's on Netflix. This comes from the Kingdom installment, episode 5, and that's out on Netflix right now, so you can go check it out. All right, a quick tour of the box. We got this really nice, beautiful, full color front print. You probably can't really tell, but there are actual brush-like marks in the sky here and on the mountain back there. So they really kind of went all out to try and make it look like a painted illustration for whatever reason, but it's cool. And here we've got a menagerie of characters from the show. And on the back, we've got the big bot himself. We've got this little guy here, Autobot Mainframe. We've got Teletran, which is what Mainframe turns into. We've got the little Seeker satellite there. So it's reminiscent of the G1 Ark and its little satellite drone that went out and got the forms that each of the Transformers were going to adopt. I love this blue highlight here in the jet engines. That was just such a nice color accent, really good. They don't have a lot of paint apps on this, it looks like, but where they did put it, it really worked. So especially on those engines, really like that. And there's a ramp here that opens up, very cool. And the Ark in its full glory there, looking very reminiscent of the G1 Ark. And I have not watched the Beast Wars myself, but these discs, I believe, are from Beast Wars. So anybody out there who's a Beast fan, you can tell me if I'm wrong or not. And I missed this little Optimus Prime here that's all in red. Doesn't look like there's any paint detail on him except that he's just all red. But it's cool that they actually include him as a, kind of scale reference for the Ark. One thing about the back here with all these photos is that it's deceptive. It shows modes and components that have a secret that you'll have to watch the show in order to find out. Not much on this end. Back to the front. And the top. Got its product number here, WFC K30. And the Nemesis. And how about the bottom? Nothing really on the bottom. Got a little bit of illustration spill here, but otherwise pretty nondescript. All right, let's open it up. That's weird. Looks like the top of the box disappeared, huh? Ooh, got an eye looking at us. That's pretty cool. That was a neat little find. They didn't even have to include that. They just put there to be a little funny and creepy, I guess. That's pretty cool. All right. Okay, which way? Let's take it off like this. Aha! Oh no! Go ahead and lay it down here. Kind of interesting that these blast effects just fell out of the box. They had no bag for them or anything like that. I guess that just means that Hasbro's trying to cut down on the waste that they produce when they produce a toy like this. So, got our product brochure here, and oh, that's how small Optimus is. Holy moly! Wow, can you see that? That is Optimus right there. That is super tiny. Cool. And we've got just a 3-color brochure, it looks like. Well, 2-color, black, white, and green. White being the paper, so not an actual color. Let's see what else we've got. Got a couple more things in here. Got just some legal stuff. And a collector's card with Predacon Dinobot on it. And you can see that it is a good looking card. It's got the refraction of the light there. That's very cool. It's a nice feeling stock. It's a little thick, so it's not very, flexible. So it is nice. It's got these nice round corners, and the print on the back is pretty good too. I wonder how many varieties of these are out there with each one of these War for Cybertron Arks. So nice job, Hasbro. Thank you. And over here, we've got the effects, as you can see there. Nothing else. Looks like you can do different configurations of this. Guess you can just do a single kind of blast, or you can do the nested blast. So you've got that double blast going on. That's pretty cool looking. Yeah, nice. And you get 2 sets of those. And oh boy, let's dig it out. Okay, the nose is stuck in that box portion. And yeah, so let's do this. We're gonna turn this whole thing over and take the box off. There you have it, the upside down Ark. End review. This is a cool accent here, this blue. That's a nice touch. I wasn't expecting to see a pop of color like that. Paint app here, nice silver. This orange is molded orange. These might just be plastic, just a nice shiny plastic here, but they could be painted, I suppose. This looks like it could be painted, or it's just shiny plastic as well. But some nice details. I think they did an excellent job of mixing the plastic color with some actual painted or polished accents here on the Ark so far. All right, let's get the nose out. And we've got some stuff in here. Looks like, I think, part of the legs. All right, turn this puppy over. Get our first look. Oop, there goes the ramp. Okay, and it's piecey. It's not all fit together really well right out of the box, so just be aware of that. There we go. It is looking pretty nice though. Let's give it an initial spin. Not a whole lot to look at the moment in profile. Does look pretty cool from the front though. That's pretty awesome. So it looks pretty good here, but anything that has some decent lighting and a nice steady spin tends to look pretty good. This is a disappointment right out of the box. I was concerned about how untabbed it was, but I figured, okay, in shipping it just kind of came loose. Everything was kind of loose. And I figured once I transformed it to robot mode and back into alt mode that hopefully it would all fit nice and tightly back together. Now, it fits together, I'd say about 80% back together. But there's this portion right in the middle of the ship at that gray platform where the back half of the ship is supposed to tab and hook into the front half of the ship. And that just does not work well. I don't know what I could do differently. The directions only go one way from ship mode to robot mode. They don't detail it going back from robot mode to alt mode. And therefore it leads me to believe that they don't have any special tricks to make this thing actually tab back together properly and well. I'm no designer, but even I thought I could see where you could have improved how this thing on the back side tabs together. As you can see, there's that huge seam between the thruster portion of the ship with the crow's nest and the front portion with the bridge. And that's supposed to actually tie together tighter than that, but it doesn't. As you also can see, there's a gappiness on the back side of that crow's nest and along the sides of the ship as well, where the legs come out of the back portion of the ship. There's that huge gap there. There is at least one upgrade kit that covers that. I think I have that on order, so if you're interested in seeing how that fits on and what it makes it look like, let me know in the comments below and I'll see about reviewing that. As you can see, it's got a ton of those gun emplacements, but none of them actually move. That was a huge disappointment in the playability. I mean, I was imagining I'd be able to swivel those cannons at all imaginable Decepticon foes, and or maybe they're in the middle of an asteroid storm like in the episode where they first come to Earth and they have to blast all sorts of asteroids. But all those cannons are fixed. You can't swivel them, you can't point them. Really a disappointment for the playability. Also, that weathering on the front, as you can see, looks pretty blotchy. It looks like somebody spilled their hot cocoa or something instead of actually being weathering from space debris and atmosphere entry and exit. I really wish they had done it by more traditional means, I guess, because that stuff looks like it's either very computer printed or just a very blobby stencil. All right, just so you can maybe see what I'm talking about when I'm talking about this not holding together, there are these two tabs there that the gray hatch is supposed to go onto. Now, it is supposed to also tab in here with this little slot tab, which, you know, maybe it will, maybe it won't, but it's also got two built-in, oh, see, there you go, it just came undone. So you can see here it's got this tab and slot system here, but then up here it's only got this little fin to go into this slot area there. So it's not really built to be that secure. It's like they should have done the same on the opposite side, on the top side, as they did here on the bottom side to give some outward pressure, you know, in opposite directions so that it would actually hold. So it's supposedly supposed to tab in there, slot in here, and then ultimately lock right there on the top. You see those two tabs there? The hatch is supposed to go in and lock this all together. And see, even that tab right there doesn't really want to go. But let's see if it will show you what I mean about not staying together. See, there you go. It just pops open, you know, you get it sealed for a moment and it just gets popped open. So frustrating that, you know, Hasbro would make a big deal about this bot and then not have it hold together like that on the top of it. You know, it's disappointing. And a little reality check here. Let's see, these cannons, make sure I wasn't mistaken about these cannons. I didn't try them all. I just found out I was disappointed with a few and assumed that they were all like that. And yes, they are all just fixed in place here on the top. And on the bottom, you know, could have added to the playability, could have been fun. They don't tilt up, tilt down. They don't swivel. You know, this is a nice detail here. It's really nice that they went to that length to get that nice shiny metal paint on there. That's great. But the playability, I mean, I don't want just a statue, you know. Now, one nice detail here is the fact that you can look inside this window, and you may not get a very good view here of it, but you can see the bridge. If you can kind of make that out, you can actually see that there's an interior, and that is really cool because that is the bridge where you are going to put that tiny little Optimus Prime. Now, Teletran 1 is actually the bridge of the Ark here. So while it does transform into the Teletran 1 computer and into a robot mode, it's also what makes up the bridge inside the Ark. To get to it, the instructions say that you should be able to release this tab here and flip that, I guess just loosen it, which it's doing well enough here. But when I was looking at the instructions, I thought it probably meant that this was supposed to flip open the entire way, and it's not. So just be aware that this panel can come off fairly easily, like that. It goes back on fairly easily as well. However, you know, I guess maybe you don't even have to get it to come off in order to open up the top of the ship to get to Teletran 1. So let's try it something like I haven't tried it before, and just loosen that. And well, you can see the panel's already fallen off here, so let me put that back on. Ah! Whew. Oh boy. All right, so putting this panel back on, but just loosened, and it just pops off because it's just so easy to come off its hinge. So Hasbro could have done a better job here. Maybe reinforcing it with an actual metal pin would have been really good. I'm not an engineer, but maybe that would have caused problems with other things. I don't know. So supposedly, all right. You can see how it kind of is a victim of its own floppiness here. But anyway, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to open up the nose cone, and then you're supposed to be able to just open this top lid portion. And there you go. That did stay on, so I believe the directions more so now than I did before. And this is Teletran 1. So we've got the bridge here of the Ark, which then comes out and will become Teletran 1 and the robot. So let's move this guy out of the way and see about that guy there. All right, give you a little bit of a closer view of the bridge here. There you go. You can see you've got the different stations for the Autobots around the front of the bridge, and you've got I forget what that is now. Is that Vector Sigma? I don't remember. Anyway, this power source or whatever in the middle, and then Prime's command station, and maybe a couple more stations here for a couple more bots. So there's that, and those slots I imagine will be able to be filled by the accessories that come with that special edition Galvatron that's coming out sometime, early next year, like Q1, Q2, March, something like that. So you'll be able to fill out the bridge with some more Autobots. Now for bot mode. All right, if you've been following the mystery here in this review about who these bots actually are, then you might notice that they are identified here as Autobot Ark and Autobot Mainframe. However, on the box, you know, the little guy was actually identified as somebody else. So why are they playing hard to identify with this character? Why are they giving conflicting information? You'll have to watch that episode from War for Cybertron Kingdom to find out. So I wanted to strike a pose with this little guy before I showed him on camera to actually determine whether or not he could really hold a pose. And as you can see, it does carry off a pose. And this is a kind of a dynamic pose. I don't know if you can tell, but the foot isn't completely on the ground there. So it's able to do this kind of, you know, running pose. And that's despite the fact that it doesn't have the ankle rockers. It just, you know, has the knee bend. It does have, it doesn't have ankle tilt, but it does have ankle rockers. So that's good. It's got the knee bend. And here's what he looks like. Still, you know, he's a good-looking design. He's a good-looking bot. It's just, you know, not a whole lot to look at from like a masterpiece appreciation perspective, because these aren't masterpiece characters. But then again, you know, look at that nice paint app there on the chest, yellow with silver, and a nice tampoed Autobot symbol. The yellow visor here is actually light piped, and it's not coming through on the camera very well, but you can kind of see it shine as I turn it, and that's because it is light piped. And you can see when I move my finger behind it, it does interrupt the light. So it's definitely broadcasting well from the back there with that light piping. So that's pretty cool. Actually, it's very cool. It's a really well done, well executed light piping job. Hands, well, let's go up from the bottom still. So the knee bend, you got a pretty decent kickback. I mean, you can bend 90 degrees, but the backpack does get in the way. So to kick back further, this backpack is actually needs to be collapsed to be correct for the bot's transformation. But in order to get the extra mobility, as you will see, this is going to have to be a little bit, it's going to have to be a little bit of play there. So can't really do like that full run necessarily because you can't get the knee up unless it goes out to the side. But you can get a 90-degree bend. You can get above 90 degree with the forward thigh bend. It's got outward rotation, so you can do the full, well, more than the full Van Damme. So you can touch his toes there, jumping up. You've got the thigh swivel, which is cool. And another thigh swivel over there, of course. Your hip rotation is minor unless you do like I showed and take the backpack off a little bit. And that gives him a more dynamic hip rotation because his hips do rotate 180 for his transformation. So you can see though the backpack does then pop out. Shoulders, he can go up to 90s on both sides. He can rotate his shoulder completely 360. However, when you're rotating the arm, it collides with the backpack, so not really going to get huge mobility there because of the lack of clearance on the backpack. All right. But his arms do have a bicep swivel and a single jointed elbow for the 90-degree elbow bend, so that's good. There is no wrist swivel on the hand. It only can duck down a little bit because that's how it transforms. So the hand is pretty much stuck at, well, it is stuck at that angle unless you're using the bicep swivel. All right. Backpack, like I said, actually kind of, it completes the neck joint here when it transforms. So this guy's neck plate goes there. Then this comes up to join and close around it and snap to the sides here at the shoulders. And then that really gives him that flat backpack that doesn't allow a lot of posability, unless of course, like I showed you, you pop that free, give it a little bit of an angle there, and then that pops the connection here at the top for his shoulder plate. So there you go. That's how you can get around some of that posability or lack of articulation rather. And one last thing, that head can swivel to the right and it can actually do 360. So left and right. It's got no tilt and it's got, no side tilt and no top to bottom, front to top, front to bottom tilt either. So that's him, that's Mainframe. And let's get him transformed into Teletran 1. Autobot Mainframe's other mode as Teletran 1. It's not too bad looking from this angle. Hasbro did a lot of good with the detailed panel accents and things, the molding, and the addition of the Tampo graphics or stickers, whatever these are, was really nice. They're monochromatic, so there's no color variation, but they are very detailed, and as you can see, there's the Ark itself. So in that department, Hasbro did a really nice job. However, I think you're asking a lot from that little robot character that is the bridge of the Ark as well, to have it become Teletran 1 and have it be super satisfying. So you can see the hinge points here and the pins are very noticeable. I'm glad that the pins are there to give it that strength, but Teletran 1 didn't have that kind of stuff showing. Also from the side, it's not as satisfying because it doesn't create a whole actual 3D structure. It's very panel-y. So both sides are like that. But as you can see, it does make an interesting little, wall piece. And for actually having an official Teletran 1, it's something. It's not something great, but it's something. So on the back, if you didn't actually have them fall out on you while you were transforming this, you'll have found two of the discs that were right here. And up here, you know, pretty securely is the satellite. The satellite is, you know, kind of small, and I was concerned about like maybe tweaking it, ruining some of the plastic molding or something, trying to get it out. It is placed in there like this, and all you have to do is kind of grab it by the top and wiggle it, because it's just on that peg just enough to keep it in there. So just be patient with it, and or use you know, a pair of plastic tweezers or something that's not gonna ruin the plastic if you grab a hold of it. But there you go. Now we've got the satellite, which is very reminiscent of the G1 satellite, even though it's not the actual G1 Ark, but it'll fit the bill. And you've got these discs, which I have not watched enough of the cartoon series, like in Beast Wars and stuff like that, to know really why these are included. If you know why, let me know in the comments below. I may not have seen all of the War for Cybertrons, so that may be why I don't know what these discs are in there for. But they do look like the discs that you know, NASA sent up with one of our, was it satellites, to represent Earth's knowledge and communications. And so it does have these symbols on here, and it has printed on there the sounds of Earth. And the other disc has also that same title, the Sounds of Earth, but it has different symbols representing, I guess, different kinds of knowledge than the other disc. So there you go. These look pretty good on camera. They're not as impressive to the eye. They're molded in like this gold kind of plastic, and it really would have been nice to have had them coated, painted in a really shiny gold finish, but that's what you get. Overall, I'm not super impressed with this as Teletran 1. But please keep in mind too that my mindset is more in the masterpiece realm, and I wanted the Ark, even though I knew that it wasn't going to be a masterpiece, you know, actual product. Oh yeah, one last thing. If you want to, this globe here is removable. However, I don't know why you would want to remove it, because it seems like it would just be so easy to lose. So it does fit in there fairly snug. Yeah, it's pretty good in there. If you don't want to lose it, you probably want to glue it or put some museum wax in there or something to keep it in there temporarily, you know, without actually affixing it to the plastic. But otherwise, I'm just going to leave it there as part of Teletran, because I don't want to have to track where that is. I don't want to lose that thing. And that's Teletran 1. And just to give you a better look at that tiny little Optimus Prime, there it is. You know, the details are pretty cool considering how small it is. So I thought you might just want to see what that's like. Let me turn it around here. And the back side of Optimus Prime. You can make out the 4 wheels there on the back of his legs. And pretty cool for such a tiny, tiny bot. And robot mode. So here we are again doing this review. It took me about a week to get back to this because things got busy. There's things going on in my personal life, family, you know, holidays were coming. Work is ramping up to be really busy and is busy at the moment. And I also just wasn't super motivated about this character. And I was a little bit unimpressed with this guy out of the box. I think Hasbro took some shortcuts. It makes sense for the price tag. You know, Hasbro Pulse was selling it for like 170 bucks. So it's not like it's a super high tag item. So they can't necessarily put a lot into this. But there was that, a little bit of disappointment. And yeah, it wasn't panning out to be what I wanted it to be. I also just wasn't super motivated about using my video gear. It's been a while since I've done an actual review video, and this lighting setup here, you know, be critical as you want to be, but getting it to look this good, it took a lot of work. So I'm amazed right now that it's actually working as easily as it is, because I was having a heck of a time last week trying to use this. So my disappointment aside and my own personal busyness aside, which if you're interested, I'm also busy because I work on Prime Animation's channel. I am an editor for their scenes. If you don't know, Prime Animations is doing a fan film based on the Transformers Prime series. It's a continuation of the series, and I've been editing scenes for release as they continue to put out more and more scenes, working up to a final full feature animation release. So if you're interested, check out Prime Animations and see what they're doing there. It's fun stuff to work on, and they're very talented, and Carlos, the director and writer and producer, is telling a really cool story and has some really cool characters going on that really feel like Transformers to me. So moving on from there, you can see this guy is 20.5 inches, not a small bot. The size itself is impressive. Like I said, I was disappointed with some of the things that I saw as I was handling it in spaceship mode and as I transformed it. And a couple of those things are everywhere you see a cannon. I haven't found a single cannon that actually moves. They're all molded in place. And I thought here you were going to have like a lot of playability. I went back to my childhood where you actually move the gun turrets and stuff. And when I tried to move one of these and it didn't move, I was pretty bummed. Yeah, it wasn't a very fun find. Some other things that I don't like off the bat are the weathering paint that they did at the front of the ship. They've done a digital paint job as opposed to something that looks a little bit more organic. And I understand at the price point, maybe you can't make it look as cool as, an actual custom model job, but it just looks too digital for me. I don't really dig it. And if you look at this photo here from the teaser image, you look at it closely, you'll see that weathering has been hand painted, and it looks a lot cooler than the final does. Splitting hairs, if you're looking for an Ark and you're looking for a big bot, then this is the guy. Another thing about these hands is that they're not jointed. They can just close. The thumb can close. There's no joint on the thumb except for at the palm, and the fingers are all on a unihinge. So all four fingers move together. He can't really make a fist because he doesn't have a jointed thumb, and these fingers don't have any joints in them themselves. So that is a bummer. However, there is an aftermarket kit that will give you hands, so definitely look for that. However, there is an aftermarket kit for those hands from, I don't know how you pronounce it exactly, but Juki Toys, that's Juqi. You can find it on tfsafari.com, and it is the JQ03C. There is a series of aftermarket kits from Juki. There's the 3, the 3B, and the 3C. So with those three, you get the calves, the sides, and the top, and some fully articulated hands. So if you're interested in getting those aftermarket kits, you can check those out. There's also the Shockwave Lab SL-0109, which is the eye kit, so that you can actually give him light up eyes. And also from Shockwave Lab, there is Shockwave Lab SL-0110 or SL-0110, which is the transport vehicle which holds this guy when he's in the Ark form. Regarding this character's articulation, this thing is pretty articulated, not bad, pretty cool joints. We've got bicep swivel, hear that ratchet? It's a plastic ratchet, but it's there. You've got single jointed elbow, which goes more than 90 degrees. He's got a shoulder joint, which lets him wing out there. Not up for a full, log raise or anything like that, but it will go high. He can swivel his arms in a 360 fashion, also on ratchets. So, not bad there. There is no ab crunch. He can tilt at the hips, but there is no actual ab crunch. There is an ab swivel, also on a ratchet, as you can hear. So you can at least swivel at the hips there. And as a matter of fact, this is part of the transformation, so he can swivel all the way around. Get these arms out of the way. Oh, one more thing about the hands. The hands can tilt down because that's part of the transformation for them to hide away. So if you want them to bend down a little bit, they can. So that's cool. As far as these legs go, he can do beyond the full Van Damme. Whoops. And as you can see, the ratchet itself doesn't necessarily hold his whole weight. It is, I think, a plastic ratchet down there. So be careful of that. And he can bend at the knee for more than the full 90 degrees. He can kick forward more than 90 degrees. He can go back more than 90 degrees. So he can get that full run action going. So that's good. There is no hip, oh wait, I'm wrong. Hip swivel, there we go. It's definitely got a hip swivel. The ratchet seems kind of soft on the hip swivel part, so might want to watch those over time. If you're going to be transforming him, he might soften up, I would imagine. But articulation is good. Now, about his head. It's one thing I have not even checked at all yet. So let's look at that. And he has left-right swivel. He can go all the way around. You've got light piping here in the back. He can't swivel 360. Feels like his chin is getting caught in the back there. But effectively, he can turn almost a full 180 around. I do have to say that one of the disappointments I've had in looking at this thing is I was really excited by the blue accent paint that I saw in the teaser images on the thrusters here. I thought that was a really great pop of color they were adding. I guess I was hoping for more of a gloss kind of look to it, as if maybe it was kind of like, I don't know, they were like glass filaments in there or something. Also, the overall finish of the bot here is a matte finish. You know, the orange is a semi-gloss. It's not super shiny, and I really wish they had actually made it like a more shiny plastic. So I don't know if I'll go through with this, but I was even thinking about giving it a clear coat on the top of everything else just to make it look shiny. As I've looked at this more and more, these yellow accents here just look kind of like too vibrant. So maybe they could have gone with something that was a little bit less bright and, you know, just made it look a little bit more, I don't know, if you're going for a weathered look, the bright looks kind of too bright, maybe? Anyway, the yellow really kind of stands out in a bad way. All right, let's take a look at the back side and then give it a good 360 degree spin. Not bad, it's clean. There are these gaps in the back here for which there is a gap filler kit. I'm not sure if it's one of the ones I mentioned, but there is one out there that's supposed to fill in those gaps on the back of the legs. If that bothers you, doesn't really bother me, but I'm gonna kind of get it because I wanna just be able to say like I have most, if not all, of the kits for this thing. And I'm really gonna enjoy those articulated hands, I think. If you haven't seen his episode on War for Cybertron Kingdom on Netflix, episode 5, then you definitely should go check that out. Those hands play a big part, it's no pun intended, but they do play a big part in that episode. You can't really see it on camera, but the plastic is a mismatch in color between the nose cone here and his torso. This nose cone is the same color as his pelvis here and as his legs. And I think these are actually two different, yeah, these are two different shades too. His calves and his thighs are two different shades of orange. So the color match is pretty good, but it's not perfect. So if you are into really wanting to make this guy look good, you are probably looking at having to do a custom paint job. I don't know about you, so let me know in the comments below, but I think the Ark is looking really good here in bot mode as he does the spin. The side is a little lackluster, you know, it's a little flat, but you know, it's the side, it's the profile. The back cleans up pretty good. I like the gloss on those engine covers or whatever the heck they are on his back there. Similar gloss to what's on the cannons that you can see on his arms and legs. And he just cuts a really cool looking figure. They did a nice job designing this guy, and I am glad that we finally actually have an Ark, an official Ark, to add to the collection. Would have been more fun if maybe this Ark could have been a little bit bigger, so we could have put in, you know, maybe some Legends scale figures or something, but even then, that Ark would be huge, right? So for not being able to have something that's like truly to masterpiece scale, this is a pretty cool bot. I was honestly more excited about having this to begin with than I am now that I've got it in hand. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to display with it. I'll probably just display it in the Ark mode. As you'll see, the Shockwave Lab SL-0110 transport vehicle, the launch pad, the mobile launch pad carrier, will hopefully go nicely with this and make a nice little piece of a diorama or just shelf presence for me. Hasbro did a nice job with the colors on this guy. The accents that they've placed are, you know, enough. They didn't go as cheap as they could have. They put those blue accents on the top there. That looks really nice. Even on the back of the shoulders where you don't really need it, except I guess you'll see it in the Ark mode, so maybe you do need it. The gloss that they have on the cannon emplacements is really nice too. I don't know if that's paint or if that's just a plastic sheen somehow, but the pops of color really work. I mean, look, even on the leg here, they didn't have to add that little yellow accent. My critique of the yellow color itself notwithstanding, it's nice that they actually did decide to paint that, not just leave it as a mold accent. So thank you, Hasbro. You added some definite value in the colors. And of course, the Autobot logo is amazing. Looks really cool there. It is interesting, if you look closely, the molding itself has a spot that looks like it was supposed to hold the icon. Perhaps. So not sure what was going on there, what happened in the design stage, but they decided to go really big with that Autobot logo, and it looks like there was a spot for a decal, a tampo, something. So that's interesting. And though I forgot to show you before, the bot does have an ankle tilt. It's not that dramatic, but it's enough to get him standing in this A-frame position. So we've seen the Ark in its Ark and bot mode. We've seen Autobot Mainframe as the Ark's bridge in its bot mode and as Teletran 1. So how about just looking at a couple of upgrades? These are Shockwave Lab 109 and Shockwave Lab 110. 110 being the mobile launch pad for the Ark in its Ark mode. So you can mount the Ark on top of it as if it were the launch pad that NASA uses to launch their rockets. 109, I think, is the light up eye kit, but we'll verify that. Both of these upgrade kits came from tfsafari.com. I've got a handful of other upgrade kits on order from them, as I said at the beginning of the video. And, you know, we'll perhaps take a look at those later, but not in this video. So I guess TF Safari was happy that I ordered from them and they gave me this little, what is this, Halo guy? I'm not into Halo, but I think that's looks pretty much like a Halo dude. Hope I'm not wrong. And here's the 109 kit, and here's the 110 kit. And there it is. Leave that there for a second. 109 kit is here. And it is nice that they come in these little boxes. Just nice and tidy. They have these flip lids. There we go. And yes, this is going to be the eye kit. So not much to look at right now, but once you put it in, you know, you can get his eyes to light up without the light piping. And then just so you get a look here, SL-0110. There you go. Comes in a nice Ziploc. And I do like that they tried to color match this to the Ark. It's looking really pretty good at this moment. I'm liking the feel of the tires. They are rubber tires. They're definitely following the same kind of aesthetic with the painted metal, which is also cool. Let's take a look at this compared to Teletran 1 to see about a color match. I can already tell that they're not right, but not horrible. just that Shockwave Lab is definitely a darker orange than the Teletran 1. To my eye, the Shockwave Lab orange is drab, whereas the orange on Teletran 1 is more like a pastel orange. It's kind of really radiating and bright. I think the perfect shade would have been somewhere in between for both of them. So, I guess I'm gonna just play around with this and figure out how it actually has the Ark mounted to it, because it doesn't look like I had any directions with it. And it looks like it's probably just gonna be very simple. It's just something that you sit there and put the Ark on top of, and then you can roll the Ark around, or just let it sit there. But I also, this transforms somehow, I guess. Okay, oh, okay, so, neat. Ah, all right, so once you roll it to where it needs to be, you can deploy the legs for stability for launch. There you go. That's pretty cool. All right. And wow, okay, it actually does even lift it off the ground. So you are truly stabilized on those 4 legs. So Shockwave Lab is a little sneaky here. They do have this nice rubber on the tires. However, I didn't catch it until after I took this off camera that the wheel is hollow. This is a slip-on cover apparently, and it looks really nice, but just so you know, it's not a complete you know, rubber tire. It's a rubber sleeve that goes over the wheel. So I was going to try and install the LED eye light upgrade kit. However, the kit doesn't come with the battery, and I went to a number of stores in the area and couldn't find the battery, so I'm gonna have to get that online. And unfortunately, I won't be able to show you the light up eyes. That'll have to be for another time. Regarding the Shockwave Lab 110 transport vehicle, I missed a few details. I didn't realize that these hubs were supposed to kind of tab in here, and they don't really do a great job, at least on this one side. You can see that they're kind of, it's harder to tell here because we're so close, but the tab kind of looks like it's tabbed in there, but it doesn't look like it's tabbed in there very much, and it doesn't really want to stay in that position. And same on the back side of this. Well, like, yeah, this one looks like it's more tabbed. Well, no, they both look like they're kind of splaying out. So the tabs don't seem to really be doing much, to be honest. But it's got enough friction that I don't think you really have to worry about. And this here looked like it needed to have something attached, so I thought maybe I was missing something. However, this is actually made for this kind of roadway as shown in this picture right here, which I imagine has to be for the War for Cybertron series toy line. So that's cool that they give you that ability. Also, this tray rotates. I thought it might have to be pulled up or something because it felt pretty snug, but nope, you just rotate it. So the Ark can sit that way or lengthwise along the vehicle like that. So there you go, a few details I missed, and let's see it holding the Ark. You know, when I first saw this thing, I thought it was a really cool addition to add to an official product. And looking at it here on camera, I like how it, you know, kind of looks spidery. It's a cool little vehicle that they designed, and they didn't skimp on the sculpt. So kudos to Shockwave Lab for making this thing look pretty darn cool. And as you can see, the Shockwave Lab 110 transport vehicle does the job. It holds the Ark. It holds the Ark in snugly in that little basket on top of it. And it looks good while it's doing it. The color mismatch is still there, but you know, a third-party product going with a main line product is, I think that's pretty darn cool. And while we're looking at the Ark as it's spinning, you know, the Ark looks okay. Definitely can see the disjointedness in the build. You know, you can see where it's not really holding together. I didn't try to tab it all back together before I set it on top of the transport vehicle. When I grabbed it off the table and had to set it down someplace else, I held it by the middle portion, and it just kind of unhooked front, mid, and aft. and it just doesn't hold well together. However, I did find out that one of the upgrade kits that I purchased from tfsafari.com from a toy company called Juki, Juqi, as you can see here, does include, for lack of a better term, a back brace for the top side of the Ark that's going to hopefully give it some rigidity and hold the whole thing together. That will have to be for a different day, however, because I don't have that kit in hand yet, and this video has already gone quite long. All right, here's my final assessment of Hasbro's War for Cybertron Kingdom Ark. I guess I'm not a War for Cybertron collector. I hope this isn't indicative of what I'm going to find with Unicron, because I have Unicron and I haven't unboxed him yet, but it just, the Ark did not feel, and I know it's not supposed to be a masterpiece, but it feels like they cheaped out in certain aspects. So, you know, how it tabs together or doesn't stay together is one of them. The color of the plastic seems kind of off, like too child focused. You know, it could have been a little bit more deep, a little bit more earthy maybe. I mean, the Kingdom show is not, you know, a happy-go-lucky adventure series. It's pretty dark and you know, grim. So I think they could have done a little bit better with the color on the Ark. As far as what's included with the Ark, it was a good idea to have Teletran 1 be a robot and the computer itself. And it's cool that it triples as the bridge for the Ark, but I don't know if you really needed it to be the bridge, because being the bridge, well, it helps the Teletran 1 transformation, but it doesn't do really anything good for the bot mode. I'm hoping that I'll like this thing more as I get the accessory kits and I build it up to be more of what the Ark I think should have been, especially at that price point. I mean, we can get a masterpiece transformer for under 160, 170 bucks, and here we got this Ark, which is nice and large, but you know, is quite simple in its robot mode, and is very PC. So maybe I'm just finding out that I am not a War for Cybertron mainline collector at all. We'll see how it goes with all the upgrade kits, and I will let you know if and when I'm going to put those up as reviews as well. But I might just get tired of the whole thing and just call it quits. So, just to be direct about it. So if you like the War for Cybertron mainline toys, you know, you might like this. I think the PCness is still a problem, but you know, it's a cool design. It's got some cool accents and details, and it's got a lot of upgrade possibilities. So as far as a piece for my masterpiece collection goes, because I was looking at this as something to supplement my masterpiece collection, I have to give this this Transformer a thumb sideways. It's not down, it's not up, it's kind of more down than it is up, but you know, it's not fully down, but it needed more TLC from Hasbro. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for those views. Keep them coming. We're almost up to 700 subscribers, and maybe someday we'll get to 1,000. So tell your friends if you like these videos, and you know, bring more people to MixelPix to comment and learn and to share your Transformers fandom. So until next time, happy collecting, everybody.